Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Thursday, June 5th. What I'm going to talk about today, you probably all know already, but I'm going to try to do this without getting upset or agitated, even though that's how I feel right now. And I'm going to talk about this feud that erupted today between Elon-Musk, who I think was really the instigator in all this, and President Trump. And it's just blown up into all the headlines, online, in the media, etc. It all started with, over the last week or so, this nonstop criticism of the budget process by Elon Musk. Now, I've made a bunch of videos on Elon Musk, and I've tried to explain his ignorance when it comes to government finance. I mean, he constantly conflates the government's financial position with that of a household, and it's not something, it's not comparable. I mean, it's apples and oranges. Households are not currency issuers, they are currency users. The government of the United States is a currency issuer, the US dollar, and the government of the United States must provide the dollars into the economy for transaction, and more importantly, so that the non-government can pay taxes, and also to meet the desire of the non-government to save in dollars. I mean, by sheer logic, the government must spend more than it takes away in taxes to provide the dollars into the system. That's the way our system is set up, okay? Musk doesn't understand it. If the United States ran on Japanese yen or Chinese yuan, that would be a different story. Then Japan would have to provide the yen, or China would have to provide the yuan. But we don't have a system set up like that. We have a system that runs on US dollars where the non-government, and by the way, this is like the whole world really runs on US dollars, where the non-government needs to have dollars. So it's not like the government is spending willy-nilly. The government responds to the demand of the non-government for the quantity of dollars that it wants to hold. I mean, we determine the amount of net spending. We do. Okay? But anyway, I don't want to get into an economics thing. What I want to talk, and then what happened was it got ugly, man. It got ugly. Like Trump was saying, maybe a good way to save billions and billions of dollars in the budget would be to eliminate the subsidies that Elon Musk's companies get. And so that triggered a big sell-off in Tesla. And then Elon Musk responded by saying, okay, you know what? Now I'm going to decommission SpaceX, the Dragon X. This is the rocket that they use to send supplies and astronauts to the space station. So now, this is another thing. And, sorry for editorializing here, but I have to say, and I've been always a critic of this idea that if we just privatize everything, that's some panacea that's just takes care of all of our problems. It's just not true. And this is a perfect example. Here we have this fickle, temperamental billionaire who gets insulted. And I have to think, me personally, I think he was rightly insulted by Trump for his lack of understanding of the budget process. He's just wrong with this. So he gets insulted and he decides, okay, that's it. I'm gonna take my toys and go home. I'm gonna decommission the Dragon X, SpaceX Dragon X. I mean, we never would have put men on the moon almost 60 years ago in 1969 if we had one guy. Basically, we have this guy right now, a fickle, temperamental billionaire running our space program, the National Space Program. I mean, we never would have put anybody on the moon in 1969. That was a consortium of government and private sector working together, largely the government too. I mean, this panacea, this belief that if we privatize everything, it's going to be wonderful. Well, here's a perfect example of how it's not wonderful. You just cannot, cede everything over to one guy who happens to be sometimes shown to be kind of insufferable in his behavior. I mean, you don't see Jeff Bezos and you don't see Zuckerberg, two guys also with immense amount of wealth. You don't see them, crafting policy. All right, they stay in their lane. And I respect them for that. Maybe you could criticize Bezos a little bit because he's got the Washington Post and it's very slanted, but that's a whole other discussion. All right? Trump was elected by 80 million people or something like that. He is the president. He's the chief executive of this country. And I thought from the get-go, and if you've been following me, I've done many videos critical of this situation where Musk was installed as, the first buddy to the president. And I knew that something was going to go awry here because he's an economic illiterate. Now, the guy might be a genius in other aspects. Maybe as an entrepreneur, he'll go down as a historic entrepreneur for sure. But I mean, he's an economic illiterate, and he keeps pushing these false, ideas that the government operates like a household. I mean, it's just not the case. It's not an applicable analogy. And he got into trouble with that. And now, the thing just blew out of proportion. It makes the United States, again, look stupid. I mean, this guy, here's the other thing that I think is a problem. The budget reconciliation process was already kind of struggling and was, not a certainty by any means. And Musk injecting himself into this now, and especially with his financial clout. I said this yesterday or the other day, with his financial clout, has the ability to make or break elections for representatives of Congress. Musk came out this afternoon saying that Trump should be impeached. I mean, this is a massive, massive collapse in their relationship, but I'm not surprised. And I blame Trump as well. I'm not just blaming Elon Musk. I blame Trump for having brought him in and put him in such a high, position, put him in such a high visibility, where he was standing there every day, shoulder to shoulder, or right next to Trump in the Oval Office, and then in every cabinet meeting. I mean, we didn't vote for this guy, okay? And again, as an economist and as a guy who tries to explain this stuff to you as it actually works, the things he's saying are completely, completely wrong. He's very, very ignorant on this. And the fact that he carries so much influence through his platform X, and just his visibility and his notoriety and his wealth, he has the ability to shape and move opinion. He moves the needle. And that's not a guy, I mean, with going to Mars and the other stuff, fine, okay? Technology, fine. But when you're talking about how we're going to run this country financially, you need to understand the system that we operate under. I mean, that would be like, taking his rockets and switching out the engines into something that, just doesn't have the thrust or is not technologically viable to send his rocket up into space. It's the same exact thing. To put the wrong technology into his inventions, or Tesla or something like that, to put the wrong technology in, to put the wrong engines, to put the wrong circuit boards, anything. That's exactly the analogy you can draw here. You cannot, the way he's talking about government finance, he absolutely has no clue about the system that we're in and how it operates. And it's bad because most people think like him. And so when he says stuff like this and everybody, oh, he's got 400 billion, he must know what he's talking about. He sends rockets into space. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but people are convinced. I think Trump made a bad move, but I stand with Trump on the side of you had to remove Elon Musk. You had to remove Elon Musk. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I always say, like, a bad belief system is like having a disease in the body. And if you don't eradicate the disease, it's going to kill the body. And we're seeing that. I don't know if it's going to kill the body, but we definitely have a disease. And he has spread this disease through his ignorant understanding of government finance. And now it's blown up in a proportion like, saying Trump's got to be impeached. That's all the Democrats need to hear right now. Because if they win, in the midterms, they will impeach Trump again. He's already been impeached twice. They'll do it a third time. Because now he'll get Elon Musk's backing, the Democrats who will run on a platform of impeaching Trump. I mean, it's very, very destabilizing. Very, very destabilizing. I'm not surprised that the market was down because this is a black eye. It's very destabilizing. I said, like, fiscal flows are extremely strong. The market's going to go up. It's going to make new all-time highs. But this kind of stuff, I could tell because it looks like everything is completely out of control. Like, who is in charge now? Is it Musk, who nobody elected, who's talking out his ass when it comes to government finance? He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's an imbecile when it comes to that. He's got to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. But he's got to be out of the picture when it comes to this. Be like Bezos. Be like Zuckerberg. They're not out there with this, speaking this bullshit. They're smart enough to know that maybe they don't understand it and they shouldn't opine on it. This guy just shoots from the hip, no matter what. And we don't know, like, he's on drugs, he's on ketamine, he's on Adderall, he's fucked up. So it's just a bad look, man. But I side with Trump on this. You got to get Elon Musk out of the picture. But now he's become, a source of instability. Because every single media outlet is going to put his comments right there at the top. And with all his followers on X, he's got a massive, massive platform and audience that he can talk to. And everybody thinks like this guy's a freaking, he knows everything. Money alone doesn't mean you're that smart, okay? You might have, and don't forget, a lot of money, a lot of wealth in today's day and age, that's financialized, okay? The stock market, he pumps up share value, stuff like that. If you look at Tesla's got like 160 PE. So, I mean, yeah, he's created an electric car and there's a lot of them out there and that's great. And the rockets, that's actual physical capital that I guess we needed because we kind of gave up on the public program that NASA ran. We said, oh, we're going to stop that again. It's this false notion that you got to privatize everything. Look, I'm all in favor of privatization for lots of things. But I mean, you could take the idea too far. And this is what happens. You end up concentrating a very, very important and strategic part of our national security into the hands of one guy who's on drugs and he's 1 minute he's over here, the next minute he's over there. He's a little bit crazy. I mean, you just can't do that. I don't think that's very smart. But that's what we've done in this pursuit of endless pursuit of privatization and demeaning the public sector like it's no good. No matter what it does, it's no good. This is what we constantly hear. But now we have something like this. So he takes his toys and he goes home. So what's the response from Trump going to be? Is he going to have to kowtow to him now? Like, oh, Elon, we need your rockets, please. That's going to look even worse. So the thing is a mess. And, you know, Trump brought him in. It's another thing I got to say. It's like, I've always said, it's bad to have a business person running government, because government and business are two different things. Okay? The government should not be a profit-seeking enterprise, but we got a guy in there right now who believes it should be a profit-seeking enterprise. So what does he do? Then he goes to Qatar, major backer of terrorism, and he does deals with Qatar, Saudi Arabia, places like that. He's getting played by Iran. All right, Iran has the fissile material now to build. They're saying they could build 10 nuclear bombs right now. So this thing like Iran's never going to have a nuke. They got one. Because, I mean, the Ayatollah every day is coming out saying, we're not going to listen to anything the United States says, and they can go shove it. And Trump is like, yeah, we're going to do a deal with, you're not going to do a deal with them. They already have a bomb. This is the problem. If your pursuit is money all the time, and if the society deems money to be a quality that encompasses everything, intelligence, goodness, empathy, all these qualities, human qualities that we would consider to be high-level qualities, if money is the embodiment of all that, you're going to have problems, man. You're going to have problems, and that's what we run into. So anyway, that's my update for today. I didn't go as long as I thought it would, but I don't know. Let me know how you feel. I think, you know, Musk, he had to go. He's gone, and the reaction, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But this is not the end. There's going to be fallout. There already is with his shutdown of the space program. Anyway, please like and subscribe if you choose to. If you've already done that, thank you very much. And don't forget, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial to MMT Trader. Bye.